Commissioners, February 10th, 9 a.m. regular scheduled meeting. If you all will, I'll call this meeting to order. Stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner McCoy.
If you would, I'd ask you to bow with me. Lord, we just come to you as we so often do, just seeking guidance, Lord. All of the things that we attempt, that we try for you and in your name here in this county, we just ask you to undergird us, Lord. Give us the strength of our conviction, and Lord, just allow us to do that that would be becoming not only to you, but to the people of this county. And Father, as always, just forgive us when we fail you. In Christ Jesus' name.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Mine's on. All right, we'll move to item number 2 on the agenda, and that is to adopt the agenda. Do we have any additions?
Mr. Chair, I would like to add something. At the last meeting, I volunteered to be on the CAFI board, but due to circumstances, and I'm currently in school, I'm not going to be able to meet that obligation. So I would like to put it back on the agenda. I understand you did indicate that we could have someone else to represent the board, and do have a recommendation.
But that would have to be decided on by us because they do represent us for voting and all that. So just to throw, do you want to table it for now? You can resign and then we can all discuss what we all would like to have on that board before we throw out a recommendation, because we may have to table it anyway.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to be able
Okay.
to meet it.
So will
I
it,
wanted to take myself off.
okay,
And basically what I'm then asking for then is to have it put back on the agenda, maybe at the next meeting.
okay. And that way we can look, if you have the person, we can all take
I'd
a
be
time to
glad
look over.
review the resume and then-
Okay, so under new business, add number 13, accept resignation of Commissioner Shirley Hines from the CAFI board. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, item number 3, minutes. Item number 1, January 26, 2021, regular meeting at 6 p.m. You all had time to read those. Are there any changes needed?
I move it be accepted as presented.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 2, January 27th, 2021, special call meeting for 2 p.m. Anyone have any changes needed to be made? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
So,
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Gay.
Thank you.
Item number 4, municipal comments. City of Greenville, Mayor Glover. Skip, if you'll unmute those. Is there not a way that you can unmute them without asking them to?
I am in the meeting. I don't have any comments, but at times the audio is not really good from the one, I guess, who's not speaking directly in the microphone.
Okay, can you hear me okay, though?
I hear you real good.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Glover. I don't see any other municipalities. All right, next item, item number 5, constitutional officers. Kat, do you have anything?
Yes, so, good morning, and I just wanted to, tell you that we have a few things going on at the tax commissioner's office, and these are gonna be some improvements that I have been talking about previously. And one of those is getting the Dropbox in. So that's one of the things I'm gonna be needing some help from Public Works, getting it situated. We'll probably need to get a cement pad or something put so it can be secured either to the ground or to the building. But that'll be good. That'll allow people to come in. They won't have to go through the mail. They can just drop things off. no charge for that.
I wonder if it would be, you remember now how banks have like a night drop? If we could put something inside of your building from the outside with a
Well, I was
slot?
just looking at, they have some, like Troop County has one outside the building, and it's set up like a mailbox, like an external mailbox.
Right.
So that would be the easiest thing, and that would be something we can get in within the next week or two. So that's what I'm looking at doing. And so we also, we're still working on our phone system. So for all the people that have been trying to call our office, we're trying to get that situated. So hopefully we'll have something soon on that. I've got to get you a new recording. And then
What do you mean phone system?
the phone system, the way it's set up, and I guess it has been, is just people call and it rings to every phone in that building. So now we've got it set up where it rings to the clerk's office or it rings to the clerks. But because we've been understaffed and because we have been overloaded, we've had people waiting pretty much every day outside the building. And it wraps around into the sidewalk. So with that, we're trying to focus on the people that are there in line. So we have had, I know I've had a lot of complaints about people trying to get through, and we're trying to work on that. So with our phone system, once we get that up, people can leave a message, and that'll be really helpful. And then we can also, we have an email address that is available so people can hear that email address, and if they have concerns or if they need to send documents, they can do that. So that's going to be a big improvement.
So what's different about the phone system now than it was previously?
Well, previously it would ring. They didn't have any message service, so if somebody would pick up or they wouldn't pick up, but it would just ring. You didn't know who it. If it was your first time calling the tax commissioner's office, you didn't know you were calling unless somebody picked up and said, from the tax commissioner's office. So now you can.
I remember calling and you would have an option to press a number for the assessor's office or the tax commissioner's office.
That's the county line, but I don't know if it actually is set up to, Skip, I don't know if you know if it's set up to actually ring to the tax commissioner's office, but the tax assessors are part of the county. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does, but I mean, I've just had to
Yeah.
call several, I mean, over the time I've called and I would always get a recording, then I had to press which
One or
office I
two.
wanted to go to. And then once it went to that office, somebody there picked up.
Yeah. I don't know if it ever went to the tax commissioner's office though.
It did, because that's who I talked to.
When was that?
Yeah.
So you're saying you can dial the county's number and then select to go to the tax commissioner's office?
No, when it just says, you reach the office, I think it says Bearwood County Tax Assessor and Tax Commissioner. And then you press whichever number and it sends you to which office you want.
Okay.
And then somebody there has normally answered. I mean, as of, this was still, I mean, sometime last year, because when I bought a piece of property, I had to talk to somebody about it. and the
Whenever
tax
I've
com-
called the number for the tax commissioner's office,
Mhm.
it just rings through to the tax commissioner's office. And then they didn't have a service, but
I don't
I
know.
think there is one for the county, and I guess there is one set up where if you dial a county number, a county
This is just
office
the number
number.
for the, well, I pulled it up online to where I got it. Let me see what it says.
42 days.
Yes, yeah.
And if you dial either 6600 or 1314, that goes to the big dial on for the admin to for the whole office.
That's, you can get it.
So it does give voicemail?
Yeah,
You can leave
42.
messages?
Yes,
It'll ring like everybody's number, and one of them will pick up.
So that drop box, is it gonna be metal?
Yeah, it'll be metal.
Okay.
Commissioner Jenkins, what is your solution though for the phone problem? Because it's causing a lot of headaches for the city of Greenville also. There are people who want us to go over and knock on the door, and people are upset with us because we aren't answering the phone and we don't have any control over the tax office. So
Right.
I couldn't hear exactly what your solution was or when it would be implemented.
You can take your mask off, Kathy.
So what I'm looking at is getting getting a recording. So people call and it rings through because we get a lot of phone calls. You know, we have property and we have vehicles. We get a lot of phone calls, and a lot of these phone calls can be answered by the message service, such as
what are operating hours? And if they need to talk to somebody specifically, if they want our website, that kind of thing, and we can put that through so that we don't have somebody answering the phone that's telling people, yes, we're open, yes, this is our hours, yes, you can come in person. So with the message machine, or with the service, so people call, they can hear that and they can get some information. The other thing we're not going to be doing is taking payments over the phone, because that's something that's been taking, that takes up a lot of time. And that's something we're trying to get it focused where the people that are coming in person are getting taken care of, so we can get them out the door. But once we do have the phones set up, people can leave messages. But yeah, right now, I understand, Mayor Glover, it's been difficult. I've gotten a lot of complaints, and I am working on getting that fixed. So that's one of the.
So are you still understaffed?
Yes, we are. One of the problems too is that it takes a long time for the clerks to get through what is called the drive system. The drives system is the state-run vehicle registration, and because there's a lot of sensitive data, they have to go through about a day or two of actual training. And then another issue that we've had is getting printers set up, because they're printing out the vehicle registration. It has to be done a certain way, and we've had to move offices and move machines, and with all that, we had one day, was it? Yeah, I guess, no, it was Monday, that we were basically down to one clerk because there were two printers that weren't working. So with that, it really slows down things, and it makes it difficult. But
So were they not working because you moved offices and they had not been reconnected?
no, that was just because, one, there's well, there's several issues at play, but the main issues that we've seen are that the printers they have to go through the drive system. So when we've had issues with drives, and we have had a lot of issues with drives this month, sometimes there's just glitches in the system. I've seen it all throughout Georgia, that there's a lot of people having issues with the printers. And so that's one part. And then part of it is also just the mechanics of the printer. And then it can also be for moving the printers to a different office. So yeah, it's a combination. It's not one single thing, but we're getting that fixed. Skip's been to our office, I don't know, but a dozen times in the last 2 weeks. So we're trying to get it fixed. But Mayor Glover, does that answer your question?
I'll just wait and see.
Waiting, okay.
That's all we can do, but it is frustrating to us.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating to us. My clerks have been waiting, some days they barely get a lunch because we're trying to get people through. And once we get fully staffed, we'll have more hands on deck. So that'll help a lot too.
How many are you understaffed?
Right now, two clerks. So we have one that's going to be starting soon. And the one right now, she's hired, but she's not in drives. So we're really working on two clerks right now. And one of the clerks is now our bookkeeper. So
This just a suggestion. I don't know if it would work, but until you can get those positions filled, what about somebody who could just do nothing but answer the phone?
I've had a volunteer actually come in
And
to
take
do that.
messages,
So
because
that's been,
I don't know about the
that's
other
been something.
commissioners. I get calls almost every
Yes,
single
I do too.
day.
Mhm.
Folks mad at us or me because they can't get through to the tax office.
Right.
I don't know, other than go up there and wait. I don't know what to say. So if sometimes people just want to speak to somebody anyway, but
Right.
till that's settled, somebody that maybe could just answer all day long, and maybe be somebody you have to pay, because citizens don't necessarily understand what's going on there. All they know is they can't talk to anybody. They've got a new vehicle and they want a tag, or they got a question about how
Oh,
it
yeah.
works. And
Yeah,
I don't know about the
completely
rest of
understand.
them, but mine is almost a daily situation.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm
it
getting
is.
messages. I'm keeping them. I've got text, I've got messages from Messenger or whatever.
And they don't want to stand in line, especially some of the older ones. And then if they use the online, one of the complaints I'm getting, we can go online and pay it, but there's a additional fee for that.
Right.
And then
It's high.
right. And they're upset about the
Normal, but it's
fee
high.
because they can't get somebody to answer. They can't stand in line for that hour that it may take. And then if they pay online, they feel like they're being penalized.
Right. And that's another thing too. And this way that the building's set up. So here's one thing that would help. And this is going to be a little more involved because I'm gonna need public works, but we have two windows that are on that little portico that are in front of the building. And what we'd like to do, because we could get more people in and out, and we could set it up where we actually have a handicap area, so somebody could come in, and if they just need to renew tags, or get a handicap placard, they can come to this window and we can get them in and out faster. But what we'd need, and this is one of the things I want to talk to you about, was getting like a window set up, kind of like a walk up window like you would see at a drive-through. So that would be something that would help, because we're limited with the people that we can have in the building, because it's, it's a small area where it is, where the offices are set up. So we can't have more than 3 people in there for the fire marshal. Maybe I can talk to them and get it up to 4 people in that area. But then there's still, if we can set up a fast lane and a lane for people that are handicapped, that would be really helpful. So that's something, if we can get Public Works to come in, and if we could do just one window, that would be really helpful. And that would allow us to serve one more group of people.
This would be from the outside?
Yes. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's the stairs that go up to the front door, and there's 2 windows on either side that are in the clerk's office. And with that, it would be big enough where somebody could come up, and, we just need a window that we can open and put, pass through documents and cards and that kind of thing. That would be very helpful for us. So that's another issue. The other thing is I'll be looking at changing the website so I can there'll still be some penalty for paying online, but I know right now if somebody pays their property taxes and their property taxes are more than $2,000, they're paying substantial amount of money.
And I know you got to cover the credit card fee, because by law, you can't short the county their money. But it does seem like a high percentage, but I didn't know if that was a state rule as far as the percentage that's charged. I mean, I didn't know, or if that's individual to counties.
It's the credit cards charge, it depends, there's different. Discover, I think it's 2.8 or 9, and the rest are 2.6.
The percentage
PayPal
to doing
has
it's more
something
than that
different.
though, right?
I'm sorry?
The percentage for paying by online is more than 2.6.
I think it's rounded up to 3, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, it's like close to 10, I think.
There's 3, I think it's 3%, and then there's a convenience fee that's added. Yeah, so that's according to, that's the agreement that was set up with the previous administration in the tax commissioner's office. So I'm gonna be
So that's what the county charged though.
I'm sorry?
That's what the county charged. The previous administration didn't have any impact on what the credit card itself charged.
No, so let me explain that. So the credit card company charges a fee, but the website that we use also charges a fee.
Right.
Oh.
So that's how that's set up. So I'm looking to go to another website that won't charge that fee. They'll still have the credit card fee, but they won't have to pay an additional convenience fee. So that's a couple months down the road, and that's going to be once we get some things taken care of.
All right.
But yeah, so as far as that goes I'm gonna need Skip to get some more things done. And so I just ask that you guys can let him get to our office so we can get these things done. It'll really help us get through some customers. We'll get the phones set up, so that will be helpful as well.
I think just schedule it through Mr. Gay and we'll go from there, because if we have him doing other things within the county too, then we'll need to schedule it around.
That's a good point. So as far as that goes, when I submit a work order, is there an expected time that I have for it to be done? And I'm not saying this to just, try to, I know everybody's working hard, but there's certain things that we need, on a timely basis. And those are the kind of things that if I have an understanding of when it's done, otherwise I could, if I have to, I can hire somebody if they're potentially very busy or if something comes up.
I don't think we have a time frame. I think it's on availability. I mean, it depends on what else he may be doing, because we have a very small IT department.
Right.
And
Well, I'm saying, is it like a week? Can I expect it within a week or something like that?
Simply make the request and we will schedule it. If there's something that's an absolute priority, we'll shuffle that timetable a little bit. We'll try any way we can to work with you, but what we can't have is calling and saying, well, today I need this. Call us yesterday if you need it today, and we'll try to work.
Well, you know, of course, it's one of those things, just like I was talking about with the printers down. Something like that happens, that's a pretty big emergency
Oh,
for
yeah,
us.
I
and
understand
I
that.
can't
But I
schedule
don't know
that.
that that seems to be with the state, instead of Skip, but we'll help any way we can, okay? We just gotta do it at the schedule, and, we also gotta understand that Skip, Public Works, and everybody else has other jobs and other tasks, so I don't wanna get where they drop what they're doing unless it's an emergency,
Right.
but,
Well, that's the
you know,
thing,
we'll
like I'm
get in
saying,
and have
if
things
we
done
do,
reasonably.
if the printer's going down, it's pretty much an emergency.
Let me ask you this,
So-
because the way I understood what you said, and it may have come across wrong to me, but the printers going down had, the way that I took from you is that it had to do with the system, Georgia system, which is Drive, is what you said.
There's three different reasons that have happened recently.
Okay.
And one is that it's the state system down. Two, it's the mechanics of the machine itself, which would be a skip issue. And then there's moving the equipment around, because it seems that every time we do that, that creates another problem. And usually that's a skip issue. So those two issues, we can't do much. But then another part of that is I also need access to the different areas of my office that I don't have. One of those I've mentioned before is the camera system. So I need to have the password so I can get in, and if I have to go back and look at something, then I need to be able to do that. Two is
Camera
this.
system working?
We're still working on it, but it's really a building security system, more so than just an office monitoring system. So we can.
So it's
look
for the
at that.
entire building.
Yeah, we'll have it for the entire building, yeah.
Well, the way it's set up, it works. We just have to have it plugged in, and then I have to have the password, and then I can look at that. Because yes, I see that as a very big security issue. And there's a lot of security issues that I have, but I'd rather go into that in more in a private setting instead of doing that open, because there's some issues that we have, significant issues. And there are issues that are going to be expensive to fix. But as far as the password to the system, I mean, that's something I can get right now, and then we could get it on and get it operating.
Okay. If you'll just make that request, we'll take care of that.
Do you
Skip
want
over
me to
the
send
printers.
another email? on
Just
that?
send it in.
Another email, okay.
Yeah, well, I don't remember the last one, but send one to me, okay? We got a lot of emails. The printers, Skip, are you familiar with them going down and?
Not that I can handle. Adding to the state, what mechanics you talking about, so I know. Just ordered another one
Okay,
to replace the missing one.
What do you mean missing one?
Because,
There's a missing printer.
yes, there is.
How long's it been missing?
Since about January 1st-ish. Not saying nothing else beyond that. They were fully staffed with printers. So I ordered another one, for
Has it been reported missing?
Yes.
I'm talking about the law enforcement.
I haven't reported it.
I
I
have
told you
not.
about it the first, when I
You
noticed.
have, so you'd have serial number when we purchased it, when it was installed?
Yes.
Last time it was you? Okay.
Last time it was used, no. Last time it was installed, yes.
Okay.
We need to, we'll get together and talk about that. We'll get some reports filed on that.
We just installed it, I think, in the November.
Yeah.
The printer that was missing.
Yes.
And that's a printer that does the tags and all that stuff?
It does all of it.
Because that's, once we're fully staffed, we'll be out of printer, but it sounds like we have one coming, so that's good. Okay, and then the other thing is just, so I don't know if it was just set up weird on my computer, but being able to access my scans and delete scans and that kind of thing.
For that, I just haven't gotten it.
Okay.
So about that. Right.
So with those issues, that will allow me to, if I can get some of these fixed, that'll allow me to be able to get what I need done and serve the serve the people of Marietta County. Do you have any other questions for me?
This isn't a question. Again, it's just a suggestion. I mean, I'm very well aware to think everybody, you're a constitutional officer, you can do what you want to, hire, fire your own people, whatever. But general public as a rule doesn't really understand that. So we are getting lots of complaints and they don't understand why we can't make it happen. So anything that we can do to, get the phone answered in the meantime, give some explanation, communicate to the people, and I don't know what those answers are. But we have a history of working extremely well with our constitutional officers.
Well, that's great.
I've
I
been
hope
here-
that continues.
Well, I mean, I've been,
It's been difficult since.
I've been here for
Yes.
10 years and we work together. And I hope that will continue, but I'm telling you, the calls and the complaints, it's right up there with roads right now.
Right, I know roads.
Right.
And like I said, and we feel, I mean, it's not like I can just call up or say, can we do so-and-so, can you check that out? Because I can't get through either. Just like nobody else can.
And I'll tell you too, Kat, that some of the complaints are, well, how come now? It's never been like this. We've always gotten someone to answer, or someone has returned our call and we can't get anyone to answer and no one is returning our call. If they're,
Well, we haven't, like I said, we haven't been able to get messages on the machine. I don't know what messages they could leave through the other system, but we didn't have it.
your first day, I went down there for you when you weren't able, and I took 13 messages myself that day for you. They were never returned. I gave them to one of your, I gave them to one of your clerks, and the individual said that they never received a call back.
I mean, I have a lot of phone calls and we are working through those. That's all we can do.
The people
Like
who
I
left
said,
messages the
we
first
have had
of
our
January,
people
this is a long
coming.
time.
I mean, my bookkeeper has put in over 60 hours. I've put in over 60 hours. We are doing what we can, but with limited staff and then catching up. The previous tax commissioner didn't process mail the last half of December. And I know that because the clerks that are here now can attest to that. She told them to go home the last week instead of doing anything. So all of that, and as you know, on the 20th of December is when taxes are due. So there was a lot of mail. So on top of being understaffed, catching up with the majority of tax money that comes in throughout the year within this time period, and then getting everything else on track. I mean, I had to call companies just to get passwords because I'm still finding vendors that we use. So all of this, I had no handoff. Ms. Peacock decided not to engage with me after several attempts, so I couldn't make her do that. But we are working towards this. So I want you to know this is not something that's going to continue, and we're going to have excellent service going forward, but we're catching up right now.
I will say, we did get a disbursement from,
You'll have
previous
another
negotiation
disbursement.
on,
Actually, right now I have it.
12/30, December 30th, so that somebody's working on something, so we did receive it.
Is Bill on the back? 'Cause
He's not here.
He's not here.
He's not here. Who do I need to give the checks to?
You can leave it with either me or Beverly, it'll be fine. Do we have the information where we can, disperse the dollars to the various, categories, like some goes to, fire district, some to fire bond, some to,
It's
just
on
to
the
get
checks, the reports, I'm gonna have to get with the accountant to get some of the reports that have been requested. I've supplied the reports that I could.
okay. I know Bill had just said that he needed to be able to have that breakdown, at least where he could, be able to disperse the dollars into the correct categories, because, it doesn't go into just one big pot. It has to go into a variety of, categories as it's collected in the village.
Yes, and that's another issue, like they still have Meriwether Bank and Trust on as their parent account in the county. So I'm going back and trying to figure out what all of these are. So there's not a how-to manual per se for this specific office, so it's trial and error, and it just takes time.
I don't see any other constitutional officers on line. All right. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. We'll go to our next category, public hearing. Item number 1, to discuss timber ordinance update to comply with recent state legislative changes. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We are in public hearing at 9:30. Mr. Gay?
Chairman, Commissioners, we're here today to talk about changes to the timber ordinance. State law changed on some things, but we had actually worked with ACCG, and we had recently updated our timber ordinance. And because of that, we had very few changes we had to make. At the bottom of page 1, under section 9.152, it used to say at the very last sentence that it used to say in this state in the amount of no less than $5,000, and now we've changed it to say $5,000 unless provided by law. So that's one of the minor changes. Our county attorney, Nathan, looked at this. The balance of it is fine till you get over to page 3 under section 9.153D. And it ends up with a fine up to, it was $500. Now I think it's increased to $1,500 per violation.
Change it to match the new statute.
Right. And then we added a separate
Change
building.
what? I missed that.
They made you when the legislature changed the law,
Mhm.
it means everybody has to change their timber ordinance if it was different. And for whatever reason, the legislature decided that our bond could only be up to $5,000. It used to just be a minimum of $5,000.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, the legislature said, sorry, you can't have it more than $5,000, and we gotta do what they say.
Okay.
And then whatever the other number was would again just have been reflective of whatever this, none of this was discretionary. It was all what our legislators told us we had.
Okay.
So it's not this board's decision, really. I mean, if you're gonna have a timber ordinance, you gotta comply with the state's mandate.
And again, there's just a couple of minor changes.
Well, you always make it less, but $5,000 doesn't get you very far.
They're gonna get us enough anyway.
We actually were able to get on the fines though from 500 to 1,500, so that worked, in our favor. And then there's a severability clause too that was required.
Under the section 9.154, what was the change? I missed the paragraph.
9.154.
You mentioned section 9.154. What was the change there? I missed that.
The only change there was no change in that particular one. There was a change in section 9.153.
Oh, okay.
The D section.
And that was the D section, very last line. said
Oh, I
failure
got
to
you.
provide
Okay.
notice resulted in fine up to, it did say $500. Now it says $1,500 per violation.
That's what I missed.
And we had gone through and had worked on this, and so ours was probably the newest ordinance in the state for the timber.
There were
And,
very few revisions that needed to be made.
So the only changes were to comply with the state.
right, only changes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
And to Mr. Gay, I have a copy of House Bill 897. There was, like I said, this is something that the legislature passed. ACCG did get I guess a template, but there was something in here that I didn't know whether this was optional for us, but there was a couple things I wanted to ask
Okay.
Aaron. One of the things that they mentioned was, just a minute. Mr. Gay, I think we talked about this before, but on one section of the ACCG's template, it talks about if multiple points of ingress or ingress shall be used, such points shall be identified. Did we cover that as well? So that's in ours too? Okay,
Yes,
maybe I overlooked it.
That's, I think they got that from us, because I.
Okay, so it is in ours. Okay, I didn't see. Let me ask you about this website thing. Is this something that is mandatory, or is it optional for counties to do it? When you have the website, it says the subject of provision of section 5, directors of the Georgia Forestry Commission and the statewide notification website will be available. So I guess when people are harvesting, they go there and that information is put in there, so it's available to everybody to see.
think that's right. It's kind of a statewide,
So that's, so we all have to do that.
right.
So it doesn't have to be in the ordinance, it's just an automatic thing?
It's a state law that, you know, how the timber people,
The timber
gives them
people.
an option.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to get clarity on that. I think there was one other thing. So if they're in violation, they appeal to the magistrate court?
No appeal. I mean,
Not appeal, the, appeal to the claim?
I'm not sure which section you're talking about, but I mean, a citation, if code enforcement were to issue a citation for violation of the timber ordinance, the magistrate court handles that.
Okay,
It's not an appeal, it's just where they go.
okay.
Just like if for a zoning violation or litter violation, animal control violation.
Okay.
They're limited by a dollar amount, right?
Magistrate.
It's magistrate.
Well, I don't know how high they fine you. I mean, I think that, if you know, I think the fines are limited to around $1,000 maybe, but not, I mean, most of these ordinances say each day is a new violation. So you can, somebody can rack up,
Okay.
a lot of people don't realize that, but if they have a certain zoning county ordinance violation,
It can be
it's
per
one
day.
that says each day is a new violation, they can get pretty heavy.
Okay.
Now, of course, it's up to the magistrate's discretion as to what the fine should be. But
I do have one other thing, and I just trying to get some clarity on the ACCG's thing on section 11. They mentioned something about, in addition, if a person or firm tenders the bond or letter of credit cause and revocation, the amount of the bond or the letter required shall be increased to 7,500 after the first. And then after that, the second one is 10. So that's a state thing.
read the first part. Mac, you mind if I look
Yeah,
at it?
sure.
I do better when I look at something.
That's fine. Just want to make sure that we don't miss any opportunity to, because we are.
We're not. I promise you that. I
Because
was,
we're a major
I was
timber company.
really baffled when I read that the bond had to be limited to 5,000. I mean, I was shocked, true. Because I know how expensive roads are and I know what
It's not a drop in the bucket.
all the load of timber can do to a road.
Yep.
I don't make one.
I understand.
Yes, this is just sort of, this is also by statute. This is what little they, basically, if you have to, if there's a problem with the bond,
Okay,
okay? So if it's revoked, all right,
okay,
then we can make them give a little bit bigger bond.
okay.
But it's, so now you got $7,500 to work on your road.
That's if they
How
violate.
generous, yeah.
Okay, so that's an automatic state thing.
Anywhere there's a dollar figure, it was because the state.
State says, okay, that's fine. I thank you for giving me that clarity on that.
I had my brothers, y'all could have a bigger bond.
We'd like to.
I wish we could.
Sir, you asked about the locations. If you'll take a look at, section 9-153, we have a note in there, map of the area identifies locations, the track and the travel routes and everything. That's already in there.
Oh, okay,
And I think that's, again, you know, we talked to ACCG when they were, working on this.
okay.
Any other commissioners?
Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
Mr. Gay, was that it?
Yes, we need to ask if anyone else in the audience needs to speak since we're public hearing.
Does anyone have any comments online? Is there anything in the chat? Hearing none, do I have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, we are out of public hearing at 9:39.
And we have this later on in new business to execute.
All right. Item number 8, unfinished business, appointment to the Planning Commission, District 3. Commissioner McCoy.
On the planning commission, I've had trouble finding somebody to fill that. I have somebody that stepped up, Mr. Bill Sharon.
Okay, are you putting that in form of motion?
Putting him, he is in the form of a motion.
All right, I have a motion to appoint Bill Sharon. Sharon, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Appointment to the Water and Sewage Authority District 4. I need to table again. Of a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 9, new business. Item number 1, ordinance 2021-01, amend chapter 9, article 7, timber harvesting procedure.
So that'd be just what we just went over. I'll make a motion that we accept the update and the changes.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 2, Ms. Gail Elliott, unable to get a response from the tax commissioner's office by phone or email. Ms. Elliott, are you on? If you are, just unmute yourself, if you can hear me.
Remove the mute, it's *6, is that *6?
Ms. Elliott, if you can hear and you're online, just do *6 to unmute yourself.
Does it show her on there?
I don't see her name. I see several individual numbers. Okay. I guess we can reach out to her and ask her to make a statement, email or.
I probably have her number where she's called me.
She is.
Let me see.
She may not have had the Zoom information to get on.
Let's see. Give us just a second.
She's trying to do it on the phone. She may not, I don't know.
All right. We'll go, Ms. Elliott, if you can hear and if you are there and can figure it out, just let us know at that point. We'll move on to our next item. That is item number 3, accept resignation of Bill Sharon from the Recreation Advisory Board. And this is the same gentleman I believe you just placed on the commission. So do I have a motion to accept the resignation from the Recreation Advisory Board?
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
He was represented the school board.
Right.
Motion carries. Appointment to Recreation Advisory Board to fill an unexpired term representing Board of Education. And expires 12/31 of 2021. I mean, we probably need to table that to find somebody from the education.
Well, usually they give us somebody, don't they?
Right. But I mean, if he just resigned, they may not even be aware.
We'll have to table it, I would guess, but they should give us somebody.
So do I have a motion to table?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 5, appointment to the Board of Assessors to fill an unexpired term. Term will expire 12/31/2021.
I have a name to submit, Mr. Chairman, Emmett Collins. I make a motion.
Okay, have a motion to appoint Emmett Collins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 6, fiscal year. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Elliott says she cannot get her computer to work.
Is there a way to call you?
Tell her she can call my phone or your phone and we can put her on. If she calls yours, just put your mic near it and we can all hear.
Go ahead and once she responds.
Item number 6, fiscal year 2021 budget amendment number 1 for employee benefits.
Chairman Commissioners, you can see the expenditures of 133,035. That is for the merit raises and all that the board approved for the board. And they went into effect January 1. So. And this is just moving the dollars around to,
Okay,
yeah.
so we just need to accept that.
Right.
Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 7, amendment to the Meriwether County Employees Retirement Plan with Mass Mutual.
Chairman, Commissioners, and Beverly can probably give you guys a little more information on this. Here, a year or so ago, we had the plan rewritten and updated. And despite the fact that we talked about some of the language in there multiple times, they failed to add that language. And the language that they failed to add was language that talked about the vesting and when the various people were vested. Down on page 1, it starts at the top, amendment to Meriwether County Employee Retirement Plan. And down at the very bottom, it's a section B, so special provisions. The plan had always in the past included the Board of Commissioners, the administrator, assistant clerk, department heads. But when the company did it and brought it back to us, they had left some of those names off. And we discovered it when we had someone recently that had left and they should have invested. And, so we needed to try to get that squared away where we could get their funds back to them. And in looking at it, there were some other names that had been left off as well. So this actually puts you back, Beverly, am I correct, to where we were before the changes made on who was immediately
It affected
vested?
one person. It's only affected one person so far.
Right, so far.
So hearing that,
Do they make it retroactive back to this
Yes, ma'am.
person?
Like,
I guess so, because it's not their fault.
Right, it wasn't their
They
fault.
do that.
And that was the policy we were going under because that's what it had always said.
I think I mentioned this before, that was changed when Rita Rainwater was here. She was the one that got that changed.
That's right.
Because mainly, her thing was because the commissioners could never get vested because
Right,
you're just
right.
part-time and that kind of thing. So that's been like that a long time.
Sure has.
Yeah.
And we were surprised when they were saying, oh, no, you can't do that because that's what, policy
Okay.
made. Yeah. So this is just correcting an error that they made.
any other commissioners? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the amendment?
Motion to accept.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 8, ACCG 2021 contact appointments.
Chairman, this really has to do with this contract form for interlocal risk management agency. And our appointed insurance contact, according to this, is Bill. The IRMA safety coordinator is Brent, and the claims contract will be Beverly, with Allison Stevens being the secondary contract.
And then Valerie is HR.
Valerie's on.
Yeah,
liaison.
Valerie is HR, yes.
Any commissioners have any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 9, discussion of approval of footprint for new Greenville Fire Station. Mr. Gay.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Commissioners, we've been working toward getting, our fire station projects completed. And, we were trying to work on a Greenville location down here on Highway 18. That did not work out well. And in doing so, we moved it over to the location here off Tech Drive, and it works out really well. In order to minimize the impact on what we might have to do if we entered on the Roosevelt Highway, they've been laid out and designed to be able to have a double access off of Tech Drive. We looked at an access on the County Line Road, but that's gonna cost quite a bit more in terms of grading and And so, we moved away from that concept. We met with the contractor, last week. He was saying, look, you know, he said the price of steel is just going through the roof. And he said over the last couple of months, it gone up like 30%. You know, we faced this, one of the first times when we went out for bids, because steel prices with the, China was buying up the steel and it drove the prices through the roof. I don't think it's gotten
That
any
way
better.
with all building supplies right now.
It
They're all
is.
out the roof.
All building supplies right now. Now, we've looked at this and of course our numbers are, you know, are pretty high. I mean, we're approaching right on the, you know, $1 million range with this, and we'll try everything we can do to reduce that cost. The footprint, as we looked at it, it's not gonna be ultimately what, the chief and others are gonna need there. But we were gonna have one of the bay walls, the end bay wall, where it could be a removable wall, where it could be expanded into the future. The contractor suggested if we wanted to expand or needed to expand office space or training or storage, the cheapest way to do it would be to go inside an existing bay and finish that out from a living, you know, quarters and or office quarters. And a storage standpoint is simply add another bay at the end. That would be cheaper than trying to start out with a roof over the office. We looked and talked about upstairs even there. But right now, what we want to do is we've got this station, we got one more fire station and one remodel. We got a couple other smaller stations that we hope to be able to get to. So the concern with the contractor was, and he is you know, they bid everything out for us. They're sort of a management, I guess, at risk, and they bid it out. So it's a bid product. They just bid it on our behalf. They're acting as our agent. But he seems to think that steel is going to continue to go. And with the footprint we've got, and it's a 3-bay footprint, the living area and the housing area is larger. It's got a couple of offices in there and some more space. And he's recommended that if we're ready to go with this, we probably need to go ahead and look at locking in the steel prices, because he doesn't see that they're going to be coming back down. He thinks they're just going to continue to escalate. So,
Well, I'd like to say, I think it went up 30% last time we were doing the last two, is exactly what they had
Yeah.
quoted, that it went up 30. And I know we haven't contracted with this particular company to build this one, and we have done it with the others, but I honestly think we can do it cheaper, and it's nothing against these guys, but I think we need to put out another RFP personally to see if we can get a different form built. And if we save $100,000, that's $100,000. We can keep going with it and increasing every time we build one or remodel, but steel is going up. Like Beth said, all building materials are going up, but I think that there may be a chance that we could get it at even a cheaper rate if we did an RFP. It's not going to change that much in 30 days, probably, if we do that, just to get additional bids on this same, and I think we owe that to the citizens.
sure. Do y'all want to look at a different contractor to get bids, or either someone else, or do you want to simply have the current company that works at risk? I mean, they bid it and give us a price. Do y'all want them to try to seek other bids, or would you like us to develop a design and go out and open up for a full-blown? We did that on the first time, but it was, you know, steel had just hit us pretty hard.
Right.
And we came back in to, you know, value engineer it, and that's kind of what we've been doing. I can ask, you know, Principal Construction to go back out and just see if they could seek some more bids, bring it back to y'all's next meeting. Or,
I mean, if they did that, would it only be a steel building? What I'm saying is there may be other materials like brick and things like that. I know that's expensive, but you know, it would even look great on the highway
Yeah.
too, and it may be cheaper than the steel because it went up. I'm not looking to underdo and make it a cheap building. I'm looking
Right.
for the same level, but at a cheaper rate.
what I'll do is, what I could do is ask them to go back and price it as if they built it from different materials like block or.
I mean, what does everybody else think? I just think we owe it
Do
to
that.
ourselves and the citizens to,
I'm just concerned about how much money we got.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we only have X amount to do all these stations, and I mean, nobody can help that the steel's going up. If they could quickly do that and see if there's any other options, I say we can't we can't take too much time because, I mean, like I said, everything just continues to go up.
I think I could get, I'm calling today, I think they could have that information or let us know what they think that would be by y'all's next meeting without any problem.
I think one of the things that I'm listening to, the extra bay, the auxiliary use that y'all would have for it. Do we need to just look, and I don't know what all you need for this, you need a steel building for what you want.
It doesn't matter the type of material that is built out of.
Just how big an area do you need?
Oh, at the end product,
Yes.
where you're gonna be looking at thousands.
I guess this is where I'm going, Alan, as I think about this. We may can just put an auxiliary building in, reduce this bay cost, and just use another building.
Good, and we looked at that as an option as well.
Well, the building that they have right now is set up to be a good fire station. It's not set up right now to be a headquarters station.
Right.
So it can be built now as a fire station, if it can be built and be added on to in the future.
But I understand to add on to, I'm asking about just a freestanding building. For y'all to be headquartered in.
Oh, separate from the fire.
Separate from the fire station, I think we probably need to look at that too.
That would work.
Because we could go, you're almost on residential rules when you go back to that type, and that would be a cost saving.
And we did throw out some options of going off the end, as I say, we even talked about going up. I just don't know that ultimately they have a need, but we have some financial constraints right now to get to their need. So as the chief said, what we may need to do is to build a serviceable fire station. And this will be the center of the county, so they're gonna need extra bays on this and other things down the line, and their offices here. So we'll be, it's designed to be able to add to, either go out into the bay or go out the sides. And we asked the engineer to lay it out that way, where they could expand it in the
Mr.
future.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. I just want clarity. The gentleman principal, when we had them as, I guess, consultant, or they were the ones who were supposed to come up with the designs and also look at all the possible costs. Isn't that what they were supposed to do initially?
Yes, ma'am.
So this, what they've just proposed to us, is that? So they've given us all the different options, or is this what they're quoting us that they're going to charge to do it?
No, this is where they've gone out and they've said, listen, we've contracted bidders and contractors and material contractors, and they brought it in. See, what they do is they're sort of acting like our agent,
I understand.
okay? And they're managing it for us.
But they've done that based on steel, not on.
Steel.
They've done it based on steel.
So
Yeah,
as
steel.
Commissioner Threadgill was saying, if we do an RFP, would that come from them doing the RFP to look at other options? Or for them to look at other options and other material?
So they would be the one to go out for
They
it.
would be out.
So
because
are they
we
in a
put together.
position to give that information to us in a timely manner?
Yes, ma'am, they would
Okay.
be. I mean, they're a construction company. They could probably call up and get some quotes of
Or
material.
find out what new material is being used in the
Right.
market, because even in housing right now, there's new material
Right,
that you couldn't get because of a lack of it, and so there's new material out there.
right.
So would this be, as of now, would this be the largest fire station that we would build in the county?
It would be, bay-wise, it would be equal to, a Lutherville station and any of the other 3 bays.
Okay.
From a housing standpoint, it would be bigger because it's got a couple extra offices and all in there. Now, it may need to be reconfigured for more living area there, and then come back and reconfigure their office space in the future. Because, being the headquarters station, when we advance to a point where we got officers on staff overnight, that's probably where they're gonna be. Am I right, Alan?
Yes.
And so this living area needs to be bigger. Not only is it your headquarters station, but it's centralized in the county.
Okay, so it's headquarters centralized. When we come to equipment, storage, was this facility gonna meet that need as well? Or was it gonna be another facility that you need to store stuff and do other things on this site? And then when you talk about maintenance, I remember at one time you were talking about refurbishing the one in Greenville as your headquarter for doing the maintenance and thing.
It would, right, and we would use.
So I'm just
those there.
trying to, okay.
we'd use the space there in that building for the maintenance. Now, looking way down the road, it would be great to have maintenance over here at some point in the future, not now, but some point in the future. You'd have it closer by, et cetera. And there's plenty of property there to do that on. That's one of the great things over here. You might could have some sharing of some of the expensive equipment between them and Public Works if you get them close enough. If there was any specialized
If
equipment.
you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I do want to ask the chief, what is most important for you to have as a functionable station?
The first thing needs to be a good centralized, fire station that holds the equipment.
Okay.
So we can function as command staff the way we are. We're sort of spread out right now. We're over across the street, and I got half my crew
Okay.
is over on Hillhaven. We can function that way.
Mhm.
The main thing is to get a good functional fire station there. Once we get that, as long as we set the design up where it can be added on to, because Meriwether County is not gonna stop growing. And in the future, to go from our ISO class rating 6X down to maybe 5 or 4,
Okay.
we're gonna have other equipment there. But right now, if we can get it built with the funds we have, as long as we lay it out for the future, there shouldn't be an issue.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we even looked at the end wall, I may have said it, we even looked at the end wall of the bays being a removable wall where it could be added on into the future. And the layout of the building would accommodate that.
And I think principal's done great. I don't want that to be misconstrued. I
Yeah,
just think we need to look for different materials that may not be as expensive. And like I said, 100,000 is 100,000 if we could save that.
I'll get with him this afternoon and we'll see about some, alternative construction types and.
Looking at this thing, Brian, it's basically a 50 by 100
Mhm.
building, and steel's probably gonna be about as reasonable as anything for what they're trying to do.
I think if we do that, we'll,
But I just happen to.
I think we ought to know, like you said, we have an obligation to do the very most and the best we can with the money we have. So if they can get it to us quickly, there'd be no
Right.
reason not to see,
That's true.
if it's an option. And it may not be, because like I said, you talk to any contractor and their whole thing is that prices are just outrageous. I'm
We're talking,
surprised to see we got this many folks building something here.
right.
Skip and I were talking about lumber yesterday and, you said it was $14 or so for a plank, wood plank. Yeah, that's a lot of money. We can do that. I'll contact them and just ask them to look at it and see. I agree with Mr. Oster. I think that we're gonna see that steel comes back with it being a wide span building, the cheapest, but we'll know, and if anyone asks, we will look at that
Right.
question. So,
I have one other thing, Mr. Chair, and to the board. It's been almost 5-6 years since we discussed these fire stations, and the one fire station that kicked all of this off was Primrose. Commissioner Boyd and I went actually 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, and it all started because of the conditions we found at the Primrose Station without running water in a bathroom. And unfortunately, 6 years later, Primrose still does not have anything in place. So I know Mr. Gay is working on finding some location, but I'm hoping, not hoping, that there is something that is on concrete for Primrose Fire Station. I know Darren has talked about it, but as we go through this and as costs keep going up, then we need to make sure that those dollars are gonna be there for the Primrose Fire Station as well.
oh yeah, they will be. We planned that in. They will definitely be there. And my hope would be if we.
And
can
we're not,
acquire-
no offense, and we're not scaling down just because we've lost
That
funds.
station will be exactly like it had planned to be. Exactly like it. And
Anyone else?
hopefully we'll have some, I told you I got a new lead on some properties, so.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none. Item number 10, execution of quitclaim deed conveying property along I-85 and Blue Creek to the Meriwether County Industrial Development Authority.
Chairman Commissioners, I put a copy in here. This is just a long linear stretch of property that was remnants of property with along the interstate that the county ended up acquired. Actually, I think the folks that are working on mitigation bank have talked to Ms. Jane, and they're interested in buying all of the property here. This is almost a little marketable piece of property from any other perspective. The only thing is that we do have a wastewater treatment plant there, and I think the deed and all you guys are working on will include a perpetual easement for access to that. So with that, I'd recommend that we execute the quitclaim deed and convey this property over to the IDA.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. Is this the same issue that we talked about at our last meeting where something had just not been
Yes.
done correctly or whatever?
It was the tax issue, the taxes.
Has that been resolved?
It's been resolved. It's been
Because
resolved.
at the time,
Had not been.
It
it
had
had
not.
not, and
That's
I
right.
think it was indicated that they couldn't do anything or wouldn't do anything. Is that
And we
correct?
sent a letter on that, and Ms. Jane, that did get taken care of. Right.
Huh?
The taxes were waived on
Okay.
that piece of property that belongs to the county.
Okay.
There never should have been any taxes that were accrued.
I knew there wasn't supposed to be, but I thought we were having an issue getting it.
We did, that's why I came to you guys last week, and then last meeting, and once we got to the meeting, we resolved it after that.
Okay.
So this is the same piece of property?
Same piece of property, yes, sir. Same piece of
And
property.
we did ask for the easement, I'm sure.
The easement is there.
Anyone else?
I jump in there. This is a step process in order to get the land sale completed. And this step has to be completed in order to complete the sale.
Right.
So,
Said by the 11th, I think that's tomorrow.
so
So here in the recommendations, do we have a motion to do the quit claim?
Motion to quitclaim.
I have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Just in time. Item number 11, notification of grant for Greenville Recreation Facility.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, y'all remember we talked about the
200,000.
recreation facility over here, had the county property, and we showed the layouts and all that we had here. Along with that, we submitted a application for a grant. We worked over one of the rec board members, myself, over at my house. We sat down one Saturday and sent all this stuff in and got all the narratives written. And I'm happy to say that we've been selected to move to the next step on that. And that's a $200,000 grant that they were willing to award us. And of course, we got a few more things, and it's not been finalized yet, but I think we've made a major step on that. So with the board's blessing, what we'll do is we'll move into the next phase of that, and we'll complete that next set of applications. And I feel really good that we're gonna have an excellent chance of getting that.
And this is the one we have to do the match.
Had to do the match, and we committed to the match with the SPOS.
All right, but on this paper, do they have the stuff that they need by February 12th?
They should have everything, because I just got the email from them like yesterday of what they needed. I'll check and see. I hadn't had a chance.
This letter's dated January 29th, and it says, by Friday, February 12th, the following documents must be mailed, hard copy to our office, and it's a full-page color quad topographic map, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So as long as it's postmarked the 12th.
It doesn't say that, but it may be the case.
I'll go back and take a
I
look
mean,
at
we
this.
probably need to be finding out.
It's kind of odd that they would, we get it one day and just a couple days later they want it. But we'll take care of whatever it is.
Because it says you can print it from the GIS program. It don't take all, I mean, it tells you right there.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
And it says, then there's another deadline of February 19th and a February 26th deadline,
Okay.
according to this.
I'm glad you did too. I'm glad
Well, I'm
you
just
did
saying
too.
that if we don't have it under the 12th, we're going to have to drive it up there to them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we could, right now with the way the
It
scanners
could
and
be
all,
postmarked. We just need to find out if that's the case.
we'll scan it up too, and
It says it must be mailed.
must be mailed.
I mean, that's what it says, but, Somebody probably needs to check.
That'll become one of our priorities this afternoon. I mentioned that we changed priorities. That'll become a new priority today, okay?
All right.
Get that done.
So do we just need to, we don't need to really accept anything to go forward, it's already.
No,
done.
just,
Information.
that was advise you guys, and especially I'm glad you looked at that. I'll pull that and we'll get it going.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none, move to item 12, set work session for March 23rd, 2012 at 4 PM to discuss zoning. Do I have a motion to set the work session?
So moved. That's the day of our meeting, right?
Right, day of the meeting, and we talked about it last meeting, but we didn't set the date and the time, but we need to do it at like 4 o'clock.
So it'll just be a couple hours before our meeting.
Right.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 13, accept resignation of Commissioner Shirley Hines from CAFE Board, and she explained that to us earlier, so do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. And we'll need to add to the next agenda to appoint to the CAFE.
And Mr. Chair, I do have someone, and I would provide the board or send their resume to the board prior to that.
That way we can all look at it. Thank you. All right, Finance Director is not here, but Doris printed out sheets for you guys to look over. And we'll move to report from County Administrator.
Okay, thank you, sir. We try to get back to some more sense of normal. I don't know what normal is kind of anymore, but been a busy period of time. I met with GDOT up at the entrance of the new industry. We looked at what the requirements might be there. There was some other development we talked about there. And so we've got the information that I need to get really to Miss Jane, and I've got it written, but just need to get typed up involved in that matter. I also took the opportunity to talk to them about the possibility that we would be coming and asking for some additional funding on some other projects, and we discussed that as briefly as well. I sent out some information on the Hogansville comp plan. I got response back from the building and zoning office that they were fine with it. We're trying to move a lot of stuff out of the storage building up at the old water and sewer storage building up at the near the IDA or landfill. I mentioned the grant already. A couple other things that will be coming up this year that are going to be important is we're going to have to address redistricting this year. That's going to be a pretty big job. There's a workshop that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it's a Tuesday evening from like 6 to 7:30. It's a kind of an odd time. I'll send that out to each of you. I would suggest if you can work it into your schedule to take a look at it, because that's a pretty complicated process. And, you know, you don't have that many people to go through it because it only happens once every 10 years.
I don't guess I realized that was something we had to do. I thought that was something that came down from the state.
That was my question. What is our real input into this?
Your real input will be redistributing and redistricting the commission.
But usually there is a head set on this thing. I think it's a legal team.
But it's by the state, right? And we just have to accept what they.
No,
Okay.
not unless they've changed it. In the past, what we've done is we went out and we used census tracts and various other things, and we created the districts. And the districts have to be broken up into essentially the same population, okay? So let's just say you're 100,000 each would have 20. And you have to try to create a majority-minority district. And that's where you get some of the squiggly lines sometimes. And so that'll be something we'll have to be heavily involved in. The school systems are gonna have to do the same thing. I know in Coweta, we used to try to
Those
get.
districts are the same, so we work with them to create these.
You could, or they could be different. You know, in Coweta.
Right now, they're the same.
They're the same. That's by far the easiest way to do it. I know in Coweta, we didn't have it that way. Ours were different. And it caused some confusion at times. They may have corrected that since I left, but so that's another thing we're going to have to really be talking about as we move on into the middle part of the year. Another thing that comes with the census is a renegotiation of the local option sales tax. And that's a pretty important item as well. If you fail to do that and come to a consensus with the, majority of the cities and, they count the populations, and you can't have a real small city holding up the process, but that's important too. So if you fail to do that, you lose that local option sales tax. And that is a penny of sales tax that is used to roll back the millage rate.
So where we were currently with what each city was getting may have changed now because of this. So we
Yeah,
just have to-
you have to look at the population again. You have to enter into a point of service, for example. You can
I've
have,
been through a loss negotiation.
You
That was
have?
right after I first came on the board.
Yeah.
I've been through one of those.
and so we've got the numbers, and we've got good relationships with the cities. I don't anticipate that being a problem. But just to let you guys know that those are some of the things that'll be coming this year.
Mr. Chair, and to Karen, I'm glad you brought that up. I've talked to Debbie Buckner, and she will be putting on a workshop. I don't know whether it's going to be virtual, to talk about redistricting. The last time I talked with her, once again, the census has not been completed.
Right.
There's a possibility that the legislature would have to have a special session. So normally it would have been completed and they would have it. I'm not sure they would have had to discuss it in this session, but it looks like it's going to have to be a special session because they will not have a chance to discuss it. So it's probably looking like later April, March, before even this discussion. But she will be providing a workshop to give an explanation and tell you and bring the people to help you understand what that looks like. Yes, the county has a lot of input, but also at the end of the day, it has to be presented to your representatives.
Right.
And so once again, just staying on top of that is going to be a crucial. So thank you for bringing that back up. The other thing I wanted to mention, you mentioned about the roads and getting with GDOT.
Right.
Later on, I will comment on some roads too, but we talked about Luthersville Road and possibly getting with GDOT to talk about, once again, making that part of a state thing. But I understand that our representative, David Jenkins, is also on the Transportation Committee. We may want to reach out with him just along with the GDOT representative to see what other options, what other funding, what other infrastructural funding is out there, because the work and the level of work that needs to be done on Luthersville is phenomenal. And if we do that, it's going to hurt us not being able to do other work on our other roads. So we've got to look at some optional ways of financing this. So as soon as we can get a meeting, or maybe get a meeting with him as well, or whoever we need to talk to, it would be helpful.
Yeah, what we did with we limited the amount of Lucasville Road that we were going to do with the hope of being able to get some additional funding. And the justification behind that is, number one, it's high traffic volume, but it also connects those 3 state routes. So
Right.
we'll work on getting that set up and moving forward.
Anything more?
Oh, let's see, maybe. Lost negotiations. We're working on the service delivery strategy update. These are minor changes. That public hearing's already been set, I think, for maybe the second meeting of this month. Attended the rec board meeting, the airport authority meeting, met about speed control on Luthersville Road. Skip and I've looked at security at 2 or 3 county locations, including the covered bridge. Talked with GDOT. They're planning a bridge replacement at 362 at Red Oak Creek. And that's going to be about a 12-month project. And I'll send you guys a copy of the letter out, but they wanted to know any feedback and input from us.
Any chance that there'll be an overlap with Highway 27? If they do, that's a disaster.
I'm gonna bring that to their attention, but you're exactly right. I think this one is further out, but yeah, you're exactly right, because that's gonna be a huge issue there. And
Have they been able to give us a time frame when they're going to start on Coleman?
not yet. No, ma'am. I've been asking for an on-site detour, but they haven't responded back on that. You know, I mean, they really need to realign the roads, so their best option would be to leave the bridge where it is, realign the road, construct a new bridge, and then open to there. But I know that's more money, but, you know, you're talking about a 30-mile, if you come from there and you go back up Lutheran Lane, you're talking about 30-mile detour.
Right.
And that,
To
you know,
get to Highway three
to
sixty-two.
where you want to be, that's right, that's right. So, anyway, all of those things are coming, and, they want to take, comments, by February 28th. I'll send you guys a copy of this out as well.
February the 28th.
Yes, ma'am. That's when and of course, I got the landfill report on Durand landfill for December, and, you know, everything's fine with that. So bring that to you. That's all I got, buddy.
Okay. All right. Any other commissioners have any questions, Mr. Kay? We'll move on to the next item, report from county commissioners. Commissioner Hines, I know you already stated part of yours.
Yes, I have. I don't know if Miss James is on the line, but maybe she'll speak later. James, I'm sorry. I'll take my, James, you know, roads have always been an issue, and it will always stay an issue. I had the opportunity to go on Beulah Evans Road this past week, and it saddened me to say the conditions were deplorable. I got a call from one of the constituents there. She expressed her concerns. Once again, it's very heartbreaking when people can't get out to take care of their basic needs, and this was the case here. I like to say that Public Works was able to get out there and take care of the road, and they did a great job with what they had to work with, knowing the rain and this coming rain. And it is hard to work on roads during this time of year because of the rain. And we also know this time of year you get more potholes because of the weather conditions. But, you know, our citizens have voted for T-Splosh. We've got a lot to do to try to accommodate some of the works around our roads. But I definitely would like to say that we need to have this meeting or again, if we haven't had it, I don't remember, of coming up with the criterias of what it's going to take to actually pave a road. We've talked about it, but I like to see this board go ahead and come up with those guidelines so that when people are asking, we can say, these are the guidelines. This is what we're going to look at. This is what's going to determine whether your road is paved now or 2 or 3 years down the road. Because if we imply to someone it's going to be a year from now, or you're 3rd on the list or 5th on the list, and you know, we need to know what that actually looks like. And if we have, I haven't seen it. But if we can't pave Beulah Evans Road right now, in 2017, in March of 2017, Theron and I went out and looked at that road. It has a really high bank, and we had Crawford Grading to give us a proposal just to fix that portion of it. And unfortunately, it never got done. And I would like to submit that we look at that again, and if nothing else, to see we could correct that part of it. There's a lot of subdivision off of this road. I think they would probably, I'm gonna estimate there's a good 80-some people who live off this road. And it was just quite embarrassing. It was bad. I know that my district has a lot of dirt roads. I know people complain about roads. We get that call all the time. There's not a commissioner on this board that does not get calls. But I think we're gonna have to come up with something better than what we're doing. And I'm not sure exactly what that is, if it has to bring some outside people to help us to get a better view of what we need to do, but we've got to correct these roads. So that's it. And if I like a copy of the initial proposal that was given on March 21st, 2017, I'll be glad to share it with everyone.
Did we put out for a proposal, or was that just one that y'all asked for?
It was just one that we asked for just to get an idea, because it has a bank.
Right.
The road curves and has a high bank. The biggest problem back then was drainage.
Right.
Still a big problem. That's part of half the reason our roads are washing away, is the drainage and keeping the ditch. But even when I was there the other day, the amount of traffic and the school buses, and this school bus literally had to just slow down and just gradually move. And there were no kids on it. I can imagine if there was kids on it. It's a safety issue, and we just got to do better. We just got to do better. I'm just, 2017, and most of our citizens have been very patient. We have implemented some things. We've provided our public works with some new material to work with. We've brought in new staffing, and they're doing a good job of what they have to work with. But we've got to come up with a system that allows them to even do better. So that's just what I wanted to share at this time.
All right. Anything further? Commissioner Plant?
Well, I want to recognize Ms. Jane and the fact that we had the announcement come out from the governor's office last week that we will be getting KB Auto Cest in the industrial park, the brake pad supplier. We can anticipate $38 million investment to the county. That they will be building the building with 180 jobs. And there's a lot of good things in the pipeline that we are anticipating. And we just look forward to more good things coming out in the very near future. So with that being said, it's all good.
Thank you.
We need some good news.
Yes, we do.
And I'll pass on. So.
All right. Commissioner Hadley?
I have a few things here. One, I know we've talked on the T-Splosh, we've identified those 2 roads that we've talked about paving.
Right.
And I'm just wondering what we think the timeline would be for that. Some of the folks from one of those roads have reached out to me, and I told them that we've talked about 2 roads or whatever, but I didn't really know what we're thinking the time frame will be.
We're moving that. Bill and I actually talked about that the end of last week or earlier this week. And he's already shot the grades for drainage on those 2 roads. And right away has been ready to go. So he and I are going to be working on.
We established both of those roads met all criteria.
They did.
Stuff. They were.
And I thought that we had the criteria, but we.
I hope we do, because I've been quoting what we talked at our meeting about the right of way and the utility setbacks.
And I'll send that back to you guys. Those 2 roads had right of way. The Beulah Evans Road is kind of the 3rd on our list. And, but it's going to take some right of way. So that's going to be a little different deal. We probably going to need to meet with some of the people there to get that done. But to answer your question, we're going to put that letting package together, and it should be ready to go out this spring.
Okay. And I told them it would probably be spring before it went out.
We want to, get that done. We've already done a lot of, Bill's already done a lot of work on setting that up. And, so we just need to sit down and put the contract together and look at the quantities again, and we'll get it out to bid.
Okay. We obviously have a lot of logging going on, and I just continue to get calls and complaints, folks complaining about the road. Now, they're saying the loggers are doing it. Now, every time they do, I send an email to Kathy's office, I send one to Tyrell's, and every time, I can't remember the lady's name down there, Kim, is that her name?
Kim.
She goes out and checks, but it never seems to be their fault. So I don't know if I don't know. One of them I got this morning, they said the road's just covered in mud. So I've sent that in, and they sent me back that somebody was going out to check it, which I know they're supposed to clean the mud off of the roads if they have it on there. But again, of course, we've had so much rain, but again, obviously they're in there when it's wet and muddy. And coming out. So I don't know. Just that's
They'll
what I'm
put
saying,
the
you're sort of
gravel
saying about them.
Pad down. I would say when you get another call, when you send it to her, also send it to like me and Bill Cawthorn.
Okay.
One of us will go out and take a look at it.
Okay.
See, and
Okay.
that way we can get some feedback on, are they seeing it the same way we are, et cetera, because,
One with the
it's
mud
awfully
is
wet.
Jesse Cole Road.
What's it called?
Jesse Cole
Jesse Cole, right?
is the one, and the last one was oh shoot. It's one of those Waddell/Threadgill. I can't, we got several roads that have the double name,
Double
but it's,
name,
I have to go
yeah.
back to look to see
Thompson
which
Way.
one it is now.
Jesse
Right.
Cole Road. Okay.
Yeah, the citizens said that they were putting potholes out there, but when they checked it, they just said the road was fine. So I mean, I just don't.
It's,
I don't
this
know.
this is about the worst time of the year for the roads with the
It is.
weather and everything, but we'll get out and check, we'll go check Jesse Cole, we'll get that checked and see, and,
That was mud there.
right. Probably a good thing just to remind the timber guys, hey, look, you know.
Waddell Thompson Road, is that it?
I think it
That
is.
sounds,
I think it is. What else?
That's what
you
it,
said Threadgill, so I thought
Yeah,
Thompson,
that's
I
right.
think.
That's right.
okay. we-
Oh, Kathy just texted me Temple Dukes Road. Maybe that was one of them. too.
Temple Dukes. Temple Dukes.
But, Miss Elliott did, text back and said that she would try to, things don't get resolved or she doesn't get answers this month, then she will, get back, but she did mention something about paying over the phone, and I did tell her, she told us today there would be none of that. But I'll just say, this is one of the calls I have gotten since the very beginning of January. And
She was one of the first ones I took a message for the day that
that's
the
right.
office
And
opened.
I got a call after that.
Right.
And, I've also called and gotten someone to hand take a message down there.
Right.
And actually hand it to them, because I was not available to come to Greenville and just say, this lady really needs
Right.
to talk, y'all. And this was the 1st of January.
Right.
And nothing has been done. Now, this lady says that she's reached out to numerous representative state offices or whatever, and a representative told her that I will talk with them. They will call you the next day. And they did call back and said, I talked to them. They're gonna call you. They still haven't. Y'all, this is a long time.
Because I gave a message and sent an email and nothing.
This is, I mean, we're on February the 10th.
Right.
And I mean, I understand there's issues, that's always, it's a little bit of difficulty with transition and that kind of thing. But then it's not, but I can't get through any more than they can.
Right.
So it's like, our hands are sort of tied as to what we can do. But, I heard what she said today, and maybe some of this stuff will get worked out, but this is one, and most of these people are people, I don't even know who they are. I mean, they're in my district, some of them, but I don't really know them, but they are coming out of the woodwork with complaints.
Did we get the check? I thought she said she had a check.
No.
Okay.
You get it.
As far as news in Warm Springs is going to continue with the plans for the spring fling in April. They're having good response as far as people wanting to participate, but if you just put that on your calendar for, I'm pretty sure it's April the 10th. That down, to support those, and merchants are having a really hard time. I don't know if you know, the Bullock House has gone to only weekends through February anyway.
So are they open on Sunday for lunch?
Yes.
Okay.
They're open Friday and Saturday, lunch and dinner, and then for lunch on Sunday. But they're really they're trying their best to hang in there and be there, but it's really difficult. But the candlelight tour run is going to come back in November. We've had it for all those years, and the last 2 years we hadn't, and the Little White House has taken the lead in that. So hopefully that'll be something to bring some people back, and they're working, it'll be the merchants and the city and the Little White House and Roosevelt Warm Springs working on that. So that's a positive thing, but like I said,
I've been watching the individual counties around us, and it appears that the percentages of positives within the county are going down every
well, and I
day.
looked at Meriwether, it looked like ours had gone down a little bit too. So, and more people are getting vaccinated or whatever. And then another, just to plug for Warm Springs, the hospital has been doing the vaccine clinics, and the comments have been absolutely nothing but positive. It's just been a very good experience. They've been in and out. They can actually call and talk to someone and make an appointment. You don't have to go online. And I think that's been a real good, because I know people from outside of our area are coming there to get their vaccines because they have been so helpful. I think Renee Smith is the one who has been coordinating that for them. And it's been a good experience. I
The
think.
hospital and nursing home there have ran well for years now, and they're very responsive.
Well, like I said, the response for that has been really good. People have called and said it, but I've just seen it on social media, the comments, so that's a good thing for us. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner McCoy?
Yes, sir. I do have a few items I need to go over. It's been a busy last 2 weeks. One of the things I want to bring out, y'all have heard us talk about the kayak canoe trail from Meriwether County. A couple of developments on here that's really very positive. Lady came and talked with us, Miss Darlene McDaniel. She has bought the Riverside Inn, and she's got a 3-phase project she's putting in down there, which is going to do nothing but help us with what we're doing. And within her first phase, she's going to have canoes and kayaks down there to rent, also with pickup. So that is going to help us quite a bit. And they're going to, of course, they're going to have the convenience store is going to be the first thing that's going to open down there. So I think that's great. But ultimately, they want to have the restaurant back, and they want to also look at some cabins along that area, even if she has to buy additional land. So I think that is going to really give us a shot in the arm for the canoe trail.
Buster, is she connected with the family that has the place on
No, actually
36?
the same
Because it's
name,
the
but
same
not
name.
actually.
That's why I was asking.
But she is going to try to buy the canoes and stuff that they have over there, because I think that's kind of waning.
Okay,
So that's,
okay. Because they've done it for a lot of years there.
that's true. And what we needed and what we went and looked at last week was a new entry up off Sullivan Mill Road, getting over to Lion Creek and then to Flint River, which will give us a full length of the stream in Meriwether County, which will be great if all that falls in place. I'm just going to go down my list here. Darren mentioned working on the security, and I think that's a great thing. We brought that up last time and talked about it a little bit. And then I found out last night somebody's attacked the box down at the lake again and tried to get into it. So we're gonna have to get up. They didn't make it. They didn't manage to get into it this time, but they were
Skip and I were
trying.
down there yesterday afternoon. There were some marks where they tried to hammer the
I
lock
just
off.
got that report last night. But I think we were looking, if I go back, we're gonna try to have something at the covered bridge, something down at the airport, because there's really nothing to keep people from going out on the runway, running up next to planes, all that sort of thing, or getting any fuel they want to get. So we're going to look at that, as well as down at the lake. And we need to be thinking about the river, because that's coming up.
Absolutely.
So
Skip and I visited those 3 sites you mentioned yesterday, not the river, but the others. And I think we come up with a pretty good plan of how to be able to do it. Wanted to kind of run back with the airport and, and take a look and make sure our coverage area is what they're anticipating. I think we got a really good plan for the other locations.
yeah, that is going to be great. That's something that will tie back to the internet. I'm going to mention, I was jumped on first thing there, I guess it was Monday in the airport authority meeting, and it was the roadside debris up off Highway 54. And I guess we just need to go back up there and talk to Gabe Dribble and sit down and go over the host agreement, because I'm getting a number of those, and you probably are too, about the stuff.
About what now?
The stuff blowing
Oh,
up.
blowing
the
up.
trucks. Yeah. The debris up along Highway 54. And they tell me it actually goes all the way around, is on Interstate 85 there. And it comes because the guys that come in and dump do not put the skirts back up.
When they leave out.
When we talked about the Luthersville Road debacle, we were able to sit down and talk with the sheriff's department along with Luthersville the other day, and I thought there were some things pointed out was really good. We've talked about a full depth reclamation on that road and expanding the road width by about a foot on each side. Well, that's going to definitely increase the speed, and that's what we're trying to do, is slow some of that down. But one of the things that came out of the meeting, we need to get some more signage and correct signage. And also, we're going to have to develop some pull-offs along that road, because you cannot pull a car over on Luthersville Road except in very few places. So that may be something we just need to put into our little engineering design as we work on it. Now, here is another piece I thought was pretty good news. The airport authority assures me, at least Masterfield does, that the county will be reimbursed for the money that we spent on the fuel farm after July this year. It will be coming back to us this fiscal year. So I think that's going to be probably a big plus for us. And I believe that's everything I had here that I wanted to cover.
All right, thank you very much. And just a couple of things. The covered bridge, I'm sure most of you have seen that we have completely closed access off as far as cars go. And I would highly suggest that you don't go there. Walking and parking and walking to it either. There's 13 support beams that are broken. So we've got to figure out what to do with that. But at this point, that road is completely closed off. Also, I'm receiving calls about striping on the Cove Road that was recently paved and when that may start.
They have not finished the, some of the applications on Cove Road. Bill had asked them to put up some tape where they tape the center lines. But we need them to get all the top coating on. I think part of it's done. Maybe I didn't ride I was down there last weekend, but I didn't ride all of it. But they'll be in striping pretty soon. They need the temperature to come up just a little bit. But I'll talk back with him about making sure they put the tape out. That way you've identified the center line of the road. And he asked me when I was down there if I'd seen the tape, and I told him, I said, I don't remember seeing it, but I didn't see it. Wasn't looking for it, but I didn't remember seeing it. So he was going to talk back with him about getting that tape out. And the big projects, we're going to be working on contract. Actually, Bill's already working on that, and he and I now will be doing that within the next week. So we get that back out and try to get some of these things rolling.
Sounds good. Thank you. Report from county attorney. Is there a need for executive session?
I believe so.
What's that?
I believe so.
Okay. For
Personnel, real estate, and
Litigation.
okay. Thank you very much. And next item is public comment. Do we have any citizens wanting to speak?
Yes, Damon Rosser, please.
What's that?
Damon Rosser from the Zion Hill community.
Can you hear it, Beverly? Could you repeat your name one more time? I'm sorry. Okay.
Damon Rosser from the Zion Hill community on Primrose Road.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, I have a few issues. One being the recent paving of Primrose Road from Tenny Nelson Road, Charlie Fuller Road to 54. Once they came in and they put a top coat on from the Tenny Nelson Road to just past the bridge, and the road has already started coming apart from the top coating. And I have heard that the individual is supposed to be coming back to complete it, but he has not. And I just want to know when the time frame of something to be taking care of that.
The temperature has to reach a certain degree before you get good adhesion with the asphalt. And right now, while we've had some days where the air temperature has been 52, the roads have been somewhat cold, and Bill Cawthorn's been checking the tip on them. As soon as they get to where they warm up enough that we'll have the ability to make that application, they'll be back out doing that.
Yes, and that's
pretty soon.
That's one of the issues that I really did have. Why did they even put a top coat on it anyway in the month of December when the temperature then was just like it is now? And that's one of the reasons why it is in the situation that it is now, because it's unacceptable for the citizens on this end to be paying taxes for that type of quality. And also the second thing, I know y'all have talked about it before, and it is the tax commission office right now. It is unacceptable. For so many years that I've been living in Meriwether County, never had an issue ever since I was 18 years old, to be at a point now where we having a hard time just to get taxed. And I'm not just talking for myself because I'm in my 40s, but when you have parents that has to go down there in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and having a problem, we need to figure out a way right now, not later, but now, to take care and rectify the situation that's going on with the tax commission office right now. We can talk about it, but something has to be done. And I'm like one of the commissioners said, I've never had a problem with someone picking up the phone, answering the call, and rectifying the situation for us. But now it is a problem.
Well, I mean, I'll comment back on the road. There was a section of road that I think the contractor put down that probably didn't work so well. And I'm pretty sure it's the section you're talking about, but we're going to make them, they're a good company. They'll go back in and they'll make any repairs that need to be made on that road. So we're not going to have a inferior product, even if they have to rework it. And that, of course, would be at their cost, not ours. And that's my comment on the road. So we will get the road squared away. That won't not be a problem. We're just going to have weather cooperate.
We do appreciate it. And also another road that's an interest right now as well. That's a real big safety issue is Forest Road also. So if anyone could just go out and just take a look at Forest Road, that would be a great help also, whether it may be right there temporarily patching up some potholes, because I had an individual that's a friend of mine that had a rim bent on Forest Road simply because it was a deep potholes, and there's numerous potholes on Forest Road that need some attention right now. And also too, especially on Primrose Road, if any way possible, if someone can just come out and just take a look at some of the roadway out, it needs to be graded down on the edges because the roads are holding water, and that's the reason why there's holding water, because of the dirt that's piled up on the edges. If the roadway was scraped down and the water was able to get in the ditches, that would help some of the roadways out in the county as well.
Yeah, I know that we're looking, like for example, on Luthersville Road that we're going to be doing, since we're going to be doing milling and the other things, we're looking at, and talked yesterday about a shoulder transition from the edge of the road to be sure the water gets back in the ditch. We'll take a look at Primrose Road as well, okay?
I do appreciate it. And also once again, you know me, Mr. Therengay, please do not forget about the Primrose Fire Station.
We will not.
Please do not, because
I by there every day, and never do I go by when I don't think about it. Hopefully we'll have some good reports for you soon on that.
I do appreciate it, because I have a lot of individuals still coming to me because, I was one of the advocates for that station and for all the fire stations in Meriwether County. And we really need to just jump on this sooner than later because of what you said before, because of the materials.
Right.
And I do appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time too.
Yes.
Any other citizens?
Good morning, Gail Ellis, 200 Pheasant Hollow Drive, Greenville, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first I want to welcome Ms. Plant that is over our district. And so welcome, Ms. Plant, and I can't wait to meet you in person. Nice situation again, and it's been said over and over. I hear about the roads, and it's really sad. It's awful, it's bad. But we have one as well, Mount Pilgrim Road. I'm still very, very concerned about that and really wish that that would not be pushed to the side due to all these other situations. It is what it is, and it's bad everywhere. We have school buses down here. We have medical teams down here. It's bad. It's just really bad. And I heard that we were coming up in the numbers. I'm hoping that's still going to reign true and that it's going to manifest and be real in our world coming up real soon this spring, I think I heard. Is that correct?
I couldn't hear.
Pilgrim's going to be paved soon.
That's one of the, that's the other,
Mount Pilgrim Road, yes. It is one of the ones that you will see. We'll be putting contracts together this spring for that road. We already got the, Bill Cawthorn's already shot the elevations for the drainage. The right-of-way's already in place. And that'll be one of the first roads that we do. That's already on our book. We already gathered material costs and whatever. And we're in the process of putting that back together. And I know that Commissioner Plant and I talked about that earlier this week.
Right.
But we hadn't forgot you. We'll be there very soon.
Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
what was her name? I missed her name.
Gail.
Yeah.
Any other citizens? All right, hearing none, we will move to the next item, which will be our executive session, but let me announce the future meetings and notices. February 15th, 2020, The offices will be closed for President's Day, February 23rd, 2021, and I think I said 2020 on the other, but 2021 will be our regular meeting at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of litigation, personnel, and real estate?
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second, all in favor? Motion carries. We are in executive session at 10:50.
Do I hear a motion, we go
Second.
All right. All in favor? All right, we're back in executive session. Back in regular session. In our executive session, there was discussion, but no action was taken. Do I hear a motion we adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're so adjourned at 11:51.
Thank y'all.